but the main countries were already worried throughout the conflito with the post-war period. The fear was that the scenario experienced in the post-war period would be repeated in the post-World War II period. With the end of the conflict, all occupation involved in the war effort would be demobilized.
And where would this labor be employed?
Since the Atlantic Charter, there has already been a visible trampling in post-war planning in relation to monetary issues. But it would only be in 1944, in a small American town, that there would be a meeting to build the model of what we know as the Bretton Woods Agreement.
For the construction of the model adopted in Bretton Woods, two names would be essential:
American Dexter Wise and British John Maynard Keynes. Keynes criticized the adoption of a physical currency as a reference, like the dollar or gold.
He suggested the creation of a currency called a bank that would circulate only among the central banks of the signatory countries. Well, despite being a highly respected economist, he loses the argument. His model is not endowed, and the endowed model is the American model. In part, this can be explained because, at that moment, the United States really presented itself as a country capable of directing the course of the world economy. Subject Linda, the role had been played by the British in the gold standard in Bretton Woods. Two important institutions are created. The first, the FNI, International Monetary Fund. The role of the International Monetary Fund would be to temporarily help countries with difficulties in their balance of payments.
As for what we know as the World Bank, the IBRD, it would have the role of helping in the post-GA world reconstruction. In linear derays, the Bretton Woods Standard would be the standard that would regulate monetary issuance by the signatory countries.
In this model, the only country that needed to have gold reserves would be the United States.
And the United States would issue dollars backed by that gold. And the convertibility of this gold into dollars would be guaranteed by the American government.
Although there are some economists who criticize this model and claim that there were many weaknesses, a first half is the weakness in Europe. A second half in the period is a weakness in the United States. It is undeniable that during this period the world economy experienced a very interesting growth, but U.S. gold reserves began to slowly decline. The issuance of currency becomes necessary to solve plentiful problems, such as the war in Vietnam.
The whole situation puts the American economy at risk, and consequently the world economy. There begins to be a very large liquidity of dollars in the world. This liquidity of dollars, in fact, is a kind of exportation of inflation to the world.
Legend has it that it existed until a group of countries dismantled all their reserves in dollars and exchanged the American ululu.
Hypothetically, such a situation could implode the U.S. economy. The pressures point to the inevitable. President Richard Nixon, in 1971, ends up breaking with the conviction of the Bretton Woods pattern.
From then on, the U.S. Treasury would no longer guarantee the convertibility of what the Hamel dollar ended there, the Bretton Woods Standard.
Okay guys, I hope you liked it.
Caso você tenha gostado, não se esqueça de dar um like, faça um comentário,